Hello, this is Karen. Welcome to my channel, Empower for Life. I am today talking about moon cycles. I was thinking about the meditations that I'm beginning to release and then understanding that sometimes people are a little spooked by new moon, full moon. What does that mean? Why are we doing it? Is that witchcraft or is there something like that? And I want to say, the moon has been with us since creation. And, farmers use the moon to plant our crops, grow our food. I have to tell you personally, I have noticed a difference between when I start a new plant or root a seed, that I find that, when I'm working with plants, transplanting them or whatever, that they do better when I do it according to the moon cycle. So when I do that in the new moon, as opposed to doing it after the full moon, I have noticed that the full moon plant barely grows at all. But the new moon plant, if I do that in that, the next cycle, however that is, and I did that. I planted something after the full moon because I didn't want to waste, and then I didn't even realize it was after the full moon. I found that it was slow to grow and didn't do well at all. So the next new moon, I planted something, the same thing, a different plant, but used the same type, and planted it in the new moon and had tremendous success. It outgrew the one that I had planted in the full moon, so I replanted it to try to get it to work together. So the same thing is, there are the cycles, and I'm gonna post something to show you the cycles. But the idea is, I'll explain it in this way. The new moon is a growth period of the moon. It is when, again, ideas are planted, the land responds, animals respond, everything responds, right, to the moon cycle. So you plant in the new moon, and then it grows and grows and grows, right? So obviously everything isn't grown in one cycle, but it grows during that period of time. Is considered a fertile period between the new moon and the full moon. Once you reach the full moon, because there's the first quarter, and then there's the full moon, and then the last quarter, and then the new moon again, the cycle begins. So as the moon is growing, that rhythm and that cycle also applies to our lives, right? So the things that we seed in the new moon, we can start to see signs in the full moon. When the moon is full, it's growing, it's illuminating. So it's, again, nice to do the work so that in the new moon period, you set your intentions, you monitor it in the full moon. And as right now, as I'm recording this, we're approaching the September full moon called the corn moon. And it's about the illumination of actually things conscious and unconscious. So the good thing about doing a new moon or a full moon meditation is, and now that we're in a full moon, is because what we want to do is we want to, as things are growing and illuminating, we want to make sure we're balancing that. Because like, how many times have you heard, oh my God, it's the full moon, the crazies are coming out? You know why? Because in that illumination, the things in their subconscious mind are coming to the surface and they're acting on it. So why not use that to our benefit, right? Why let things just happen to us unconsciously? Why not consciously look at, what am I feeling? What's, how has the first, couple, days in this cycle, how has that gone for me? What's happening in my life based on what intentions that I set for myself? Where am I? How am I feeling? And sometimes during the full moon, things are triggered, and that's okay, right? It's okay to look at that. It's also a good time to pause on what things you have accomplished, you have achieved, and then work on the reset. The farmers use that time to plant the underground crops, and if you think about it, it's going in that subconscious thing, that under, right? So you're working on what it is, what's coming next, that kind of thing. So after the full moon, you work on resting. You work on, the thoughts, the preparing, the reflecting, so that when the new moon comes, then you're able to set a new intention, your next level of intention, and go forward. Again, I'll post something so that you can see it. Again, the moon, our ancient peoples use the moon to tell time and do everything. You know, a fortnight, I've heard that in like Game of Thrones, right? Or just different other kinds of things. A fortnight is 14 days of the moon rising and setting, right? So 14 days, it's half the moon cycle. So again, it's a part of our culture, both good and bad. But again, I'm not focusing on the negative. Everything that I'm speaking to you is about a positive thing. I am a big believer in meditation. I am a big believer in setting intentions. And so this is a perfect time to work with the flow. And I have found that as I've been doing that, great things have really been happening in my life. It's been just a wonderful time with that, of just moving with the flow. And the last thing that I want to say is, again, the animal kingdom, the full moon affects them and it shows up more. Well, we're able to see it because it's external. But again, if the animals are using the moon cycle, and we're supposed to be more advanced than they are, and I'm not so sure we are at times, do you notice that they can read weather patterns? They leave an area before a tsunami comes. They follow the flow of what's going on according to the environment and what's around them. So why don't we take note of that and do that for ourselves? So I guess that's all I have to say about that. But just take a look at the cycles, and then I put a little bit more information down below. Again, please like, subscribe, and click the alerts button so that you can find out when I'm releasing something else. And I will be doing it pretty regularly. So just, support me, check me out. Again, if you found it helpful at all, if it gave you some new information about the moon, hopefully it alleviated some fears you had about whether you should be meditating. I'm not laughing at that, but I'm just saying that, sometimes people freak out about the moon because of so many different things that have happened. But my thing is, let's use it positively, right? Let's observe what's going on and take advantage of that and leverage it in a positive way. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.